Welcome to Cans
Has
of Corn.
take two,
If
take three, take four.
don't don't say the thing. Don't say it.
1 2 1 2.
Welcome to Cans
Has
of Corn. We're actually live. Okay, this time I didn't mess
take
it up.
two,
If
take three. How's my screen? Is it good?
where
You
am
hear
I?
me?
There am I.
Check, check, check. Check one, check two, check three, check four. I
Check.
check it like the water in El Salvador.
We don't
Baby,
play
baby.
chess. This is where we play checkers, and we have to check a lot. Oh my.
There's a lot to check out.
There's also technical difficulties, but we already got friends of the show sponsoring a
Hi,
new
friends.
cam and a new mic for myself because I don't know, probably very silent, shitty
I
mic,
can hear you. I don't
That's
know. I don't
enough.
know.
Let them complain then.
You can.
Complain. So tell us, what's today's, how we are going to, I don't even,
We're
what are we doing?
we're just, we're just redoing what we did on Tuesday, right?
Are
I hope
we?
so, because I fucking didn't do anything else.
No
So I hope we're
surprise
doing the
topic?
same thing again. No surprise topic so far. I was trying to think of like 5 albums that really influenced my growth and development, but I only came up with one. It was The Downward Spiral by Nine Inch Nails. And that's only because I listened to the whole thing before work the other day and I was like, oh, this still slaps. This is still exactly how I feel. Took me
Wow.
back to the first time I heard it.
Shout out to Trent Reznor, I think.
Yeah, for sure. He's still cutting it up in the business. He's got new stuff coming. Isn't he doing the new Tron movie? Isn't he doing the soundtrack for the there's like a new Tron movie and he's doing the soundtrack for
You
it.
didn't listen to it already.
I listened to the post that you made about it.
You're getting
Uh,
old. We all do.
I know. I'm so old.
So today,
Old news.
let's waste some time. Let's do it
We're wasting
professionally,
time.
like a pro. I think the last time we just had you going through your shit and I was just jumping in, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of worked.
Yeah. Well,
So
and this time you'll know what I'm going to say. So you might have a little bit more rebuttal or a little bit more.
I could actually pull up the text and then distract people with letters and stuff on white
No,
background.
don't do that.
That's totally boring. I would rather
I
look at
still didn't.
the show. I'm very small, so it's actually your show. You took over. I like that.
I still didn't read the Value of Time, Its Commodification, and the Reconceptualization by Wolfgang J. Fellner, Department of Socioeconomics in Vienna University of Economics and Business, which was your suggested reading.
For the
And then
class.
you,
Hmm.
for the, you all need to do this.
Hmm. Do you do your do
I'll
your
ex-
homework at least this
I,
time once? No, we didn't waste time on actual science. We went with actual science, ITS science, the
well,
other
I was
one.
thinking about it and I was just like, okay. So I have a university degree in English with quite a bit of background in sociology and psychology, as well as literature and language. But number one, there's just a lot of people already saturating the academics market. Number two, there are so many people that I feel need to be related to who maybe can't necessarily relate. And number three, I personally have some brain worm or something that makes it easy for me to disconnect. I feel like maybe an
Hmm.
alien perspective or something where I've just crash landed on this planet
She's
and
stealing the
I'm
brain as well.
reacting everything that's happening. I'm like, I understand that it's happening. I don't necessarily understand why it is this way. It's like they taught me all the rules and then didn't play by them, but expect me to play by them. I'm not necessarily sure how fair that is.
That's time being commodified already. Sweet. Cheers.
Lemonade. It used to
Hydrate.
be a popular, yeah, it used to be a popular drink and it still is, what I hear. Do you want me to, so you want me to kind of give you what everybody missed on Tuesday when we did this before, but it wasn't,
Just go
it
with the
wasn't
flow, you
recorded
know.
correct.
I, w-
Okay.
I need I need an attorney for my technical difficulties. That's all I'm going to say. So if you could just give us your best, and then I kind of like that. I like to actually watch my show while doing the show. So glad
Okay.
you're on. And
Thank you.
this really
Thank you for
fits
having me.
fits good
Appreciate it.
in the trajectory
Rotation.
and the way we
Hitting the
already put it
roster.
with the last show, well, which is you already got the vibes. So take it from here, please.
Okay, so and eventually maybe I'll be able to play the ball game without this playbook, but at the moment I'm gonna have to read some, and I did write what I'm gonna read. I'm just gonna get into it. Okay, so since we spent time conversing behind the scenes about how you may not find it particularly important for you to read the article you suggested we read in order to have this conversation, I also did not read the article. I think there are enough practical and obvious reflections of how this perceived equivalency between time and a monetary asset presents us with some very interesting modern questions and dilemmas. If we could just start by getting your thoughts on one place I see the time money issue rearing its ugly head these days, since everything always has to be about me. I wanted to say something towards the criticism that I've been hearing about because locally I've been active in the 50-51 demonstrations in my region. We have our own little group, 50-51 Quincy, Illinois, and protesters in general being paid and like commodification of time for protesters. Everyone always gets their panties in a bunch about protesters being paid. I hear that a lot. It's a very common criticism of, oh, these people just they just come in and they get paid, and I don't know. I don't know that the right approach is trying to defend. We don't get paid, first of all. I would like everyone to know that I'm severely underpaid, and if anybody wants to give me money for anything that I'm doing or not doing, I would appreciate it. But um, isn't it just weaponizing a guilt trip about protesters to stop them from using the same tools that the machine that they're up against is using? Because the people who are on TV haranguing against 50-51 and protesters in general, how terrible they are being paid, and a lot of those people, the representative government politicians, are being paid with our money. So not only are they being paid, I as a taxpayer am paying them. So why are they allowed to be paid? Like why is the machine allowed to use money to push their agenda, but the rebellion faction, as it were, is presented as if they have fallen into some moralistic failing, right? What do you think? What do you think,
Right.
Corin? What do you think about that idea? Idea number one, why cannot why can't protesters be paid? Like, why would that even be a problem if they were?
Right. George Soros, homie, if you're watching this, uh, pay us. Fuck
Please.
you, pay me, please.
We
Pretty.
we we looked you up, George. You seem like a really nice guy. You seem like you give away to charity like quite extensively. I think he's actually
My
um
Antifa paycheck wasn't in the mail. Something is off. Maybe you could check the check.
check the check, guys.
Nah,
Check,
it's
check.
kind of it's kind of funny. It's also relating to this weird topic that's also hovering above all of this, like elephant in the dining room.
Are you sure
um,
it's an elephant? It's not a giraffe.
Deep down, when we sell out 8 hours a day to just pay our crappy bills, we all know we're just selling out, we're just getting money. It's also, in a way, weirdly, getting money is also selling out. And that's kind of negative. The connotation, the connotation is very negative. On that front, if you're selling out, I mean, few people really get to do something really useful for everyone and can say, "Hey, yo, I'm not selling out. I'm just making an absolute blast for everyone, and you can all be happy I'm here." So that's where we all want to be, I guess. Most of us, I don't know. It's also a thing about getting money, just, someone has to do the job, so I'm going to do it. And that kind of, all this negative shit somehow now has a place to find a representation. And of course, it's your political enemy and couldn't be you. It's not totally obvious that Trump and all his fucking neocon, neo-Nazi critters are paid by big oil and the military industrial complex and their entire fucking
Qatar.
crew. No, it's not stinking obvious, so you gotta
They're not
distract and
getting
all that.
golden crowns from Korea these days or anything. Not like anything like that's happening.
Yeah, and
That's the
that's
latest thing I heard. Korea just gave Trump this golden crown because they thought it was so hilarious
it was
when
also
he was doing
replica crown for a replica king, so that's kind of fitting.
Rep- the reptilian king. What?
Yeah,
Deep
kinda.
state.
Had some
Wait, I
Godzilla
forgot my
vibes.
gloves. I gotta get my gloves. Hold on. I told you I got Halloween gear and I didn't even put it on because I was like,
Good.
nuevas. Good that I didn't.
We're already running late, as always.
Yeah.
We
Well, I'll
always
save it
do.
for the
So,
Patreon members only.
hmm, later in the Zoom.
Later. In the
Join us in
Zoom.
the Zoom.
Come
Check out,
come to the
check out,
Patreon.
check out the checkout outfit.
Yeah. Um yeah,
So
I wrote
where were
something
we at?
about I wrote something about, like other weapons that the machine is allowed to use and protesters are not allowed to use. And maybe I know that it's an entirely different conversation about violence
Mm, you said the
being
word.
another I said the word. But it's you know, it's just I think this is just another extension of how we're not allowed to pick up and use the same tools that are being used against us, and just how unfair that feels. And um okay, the criticism of whether or not protesters are paid is an interesting manifestation of where this valuation of time versus money starts to break down for me. The fact that so many people seem to believe that we've been paid indicates that they do understand and believe that our time and what we are doing is valuable. Um, the whole line of reasoning surrounding the idea being hurtled at us, like some accusation of moralistic failing, indicates people expressing that view think maybe we should be paid for our time. Like they simply just cannot understand that we would do it for any other reason. I don't know. I think it's a reflection of how intrinsically they must see that there's a value in how we're spending our time, or else why would that even be a criticism?
Do we
Anybody?
even do we even value what we are pretending to value? This is a whole different debate now, but it's also very present in all those silly wars, genocides going on. There's a lot going on that things become apparent that we obviously don't value what we pretend to value, but instead there's this old barbarism with the beneath this thin veneer of civilization. I think that's a quote. Can't say who what.
I
Yeah,
mean, you just said it.
that got
Quote
dark
2025
quick.
corn. There's the
Uh,
thin veneer.
there's your thin veneer. Yeah. And what can I say? I lost my thin veneer.
So there's the protesters, and I picked out a couple other places where I see this breakdown of time and money and how like corn in the first place, we couldn't be wasting time if we didn't value the time. Like, I don't know, the artists. Let's go on to the artists. Let's talk about art. Let's talk
No,
about
just
artists for a
one
while,
one quick thing before I forget about it.
please.
You got me back on the track. This concept about wasted time, according to Erich Fromm and fear of freedom, uh, he explained how we actually got in contact with this in the 14th, 15th century when the first church clocks actually rang the bells and we actually had time like hovering above the manufacturing. And suddenly you could actually pay someone for the hour because you had this thing everyone was agreeing on because there it is. And that's kind of, yeah, the reduced reading now for quickies. But he also went a lot into this commodification of time under capital, how this also was very present in the more primitive accumulation before. And interestingly, this part also connects to the last thing we talked about with Sally, how women are pretty much exploited for care work all the time, and we totally normalized this thing. I mean, this is what also marriage is about. I mean, with two people, you can actually combine your forces and actually get shit going with exploiting each other for the family. I mean, in a way, this is all leading too far. So maybe you should bring me back.
We can go. Well, we can skip. Let's skip artists for a minute and go over to the domestic work because I wrote that down too. Um, I think domestic work is just a woke liberal way of saying typically mothers, but there's also plenty of loving, hardworking fathers and grandparents and foster parents and other types of people performing those types of labor. Um, Although a caveat, I still think that globally the normalization of many of those types of time expenditures are considered the work of womanhood. Shout out, shout out, Turning Point America. But there's a very strange and real double standard in how care for infants and children is compensated or not. It's obvious that childcare is a type of expenditure that people routinely value to the extent that they're paying for that service. But suddenly, if a parent is caring for their own child, then that needs to be done for free. And again, as with the activist, if you won't do it, if you grumble at all, like if you express any grain of discontent with the fact that you're doing all of this work for free, you definitely are made to feel like you have failed moralistically somehow. Like, what do you mean you won't do that work? That's your family. Those are your children. Like you're not as good of a parent or as a mother if like you even if you express that you're tired or that it's hard or that it's hard. Page down, rattling it off.
Just walking you through this now.
So there's thank you, take my hand as well, please. There's a bizarre hypothetical that I came up with, is that if you have your own child and your neighbor has a child and you switch children during the day and you raise their child and they raise your child, you could each be compensated for your time in that way. You can be compensated as an independent childcare provider for someone else's child, but not for your own child. And I don't know, that just seems like a really weird construct, like why it's like essentially the same child. It's the same time commitment, it's the same energy expenditure. Why? I don't know. I don't know why that exists. And like you're saying, it's not just women. It's really not. In a marriage, there is a sort of breaking up. It's easier to head a house. It's easier to have a household where there's more than one adult doing the work in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
In a lot of ways. But there's a lot of shared chores and things that guys are typically um, kind of made to feel like they need to do around the house, other than being the breadwinner, the provider for the family. If that's what they're doing, there's like light plumbing work. There's a lot of housework and cooking and gardening, lawn care, um, chauffeur servicing, laundry service, shopping. You sort of become therapy for each other in a lot of regards. Like a lot of people sort of exploit the other person that they're with most routinely, for therapy service, almost like maybe a little bit too much emotional work, a lot of times. And sex work, I think, since it's a service that you could pay for if you were garnering that time and energy expenditure from someone who was not your live-in domestic life partner, that can become another aspect of how a relationship can become exploitative.
Yeah, and there's a lot we didn't. No, probably not a lot. I can't think of anything, but there might be something we forgot.
Lots of
Possibly.
things. Oh yeah, there's lots of
Main
things every
thing
day.
is the main thing. That's capital. Capitalism is essentially uh, directly boiled down another word to say the relations of exploitation. So that has an influence on that. Nowadays, everything goes through this filter of monetarization. How much can anything be exploited for my personal gains and whatnot? And that's in a way already deeply ingrained. It's hard to unlearn. I don't think I can. Maybe too much survival mode and whatnot. Uh, that's still in the background, but yeah, that's where we are, right? So, wow, it's getting dark quick again.
Well, I think it's,
Socialism is
I
the
don't know.
thing.
I think this whether or not you are paid or if it's uncompensated is an issue that more drastically affects working class and poor families. Like, I don't know, you and I are relating to it as in like, yeah, that's just the way that the world operates. You do all of these things for free, either because you're being exploited or out of love, and a little bit of both a lot of times. But the people who um, are billionaires, the people who are just like really, really well off, have the means to do it. Their relationships I don't think that they work the same way. As far as I can tell, if you have the money, then you have a maid, or if you have children, you have an au pair, or if you don't feel like making dinner, you order out or you go out to a restaurant. And so so those families, when, I don't know, I'm trying to get a stab at this idea that a lot of the people who outsource all an extensive amount of that work are choosing when they want to present themselves as a family man, or the a hardworking family that loves each other. It's sort of performative, um, in the way that their experience of the family is totally different. It's lacking in a lot of the time expenditure and stress that most working class families actually feel, because there's that, like, when you're in the working poor family, you don't have that same decision. You can't just like say, "Oh, I don't really want to do my laundry. I think I'll just take it to the laundry service, drop it off, and pick it up at the end of the day." You can't be like, "Oh, I want to go on vacation, so and I don't really want to watch my kids. We're going to this resort. I'm just gonna hire an au pair to go with us and have a babysitter the entire time, and they can perform the childcare while we have fun and drink martinis." Or I don't know what rich people do. Probably Coke, not martinis. Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah, you
let's
can
not shit
outsource a
let's not
lot.
shit ourselves about what all this Argentina business is about. Okay, I've seen the videos of that guy who just won the re-election down there. Don't necessarily think you're going to convince me that he doesn't know how to party. Jeez.
He's not exactly Diego Armando, but right. I got the
You
feeling
know,
you're not finished yet. There was a
look at all of my words, Corn. Look at
oh,
what I did. Look, tell
I
me
did
I'm
it.
a good girl. Yeah. No, we didn't go through artists. I don't know. Artists are another category that I feel like,
Oh, you know some?
you never really get paid. Yeah, we're very awesome, but we don't like, it's another profession where you don't necessarily get paid for the time and effort that you put into your work a lot of times. And it's another area where yeah, you feel like you've failed moralistically somehow. If you become successful, like then you've sold out. If you make it,
Is that the
then
case?
it well,
I
no,
hope not so.
I don't think so. I think it depends on what kind of ideations you start pushing once you make it for yourself. You
Hmm.
know, like you can kind of tell whether someone is pushing an idea because they see where they could make money off of it, or if they're doing it because they think it's a betterment for society, or just because it's fun. They like to do it, and so they're doing it for the love of it.
Oh,
And it takes a special je ne sais quoi to straddle that line and both be successful and continue to do it because you love it and you put your time and your energy into the craft because of the love, which I think that's another commodification of time, isn't it? Like commodification of time doesn't necessarily have to mean monetary, right? It can mean like an emotional quotient, like um you're pouring y- some kind of energy, you're pouring some kind of energy into it
the
that's
juice. Ah, you
the
told me
juice.
about the juice.
Tell me about the juice.
I can tell you
You're the
about
juice
the juice.
master.
Am I? Well, I'm doing this for a while now, and you don't really get, or to put it differently, it really helps to be crazy and to be kind of obsessed by your stuff. And that was essentially my lucky shot, that I had this strange connection to Dada since, I don't know, way back in high school or something. When I learned about it, eyes kind of went up, and it's like, hey, this is it. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm experiencing. And why is this not what's going on? And I couldn't realize that things evolved into whatever Fluxus. And it's still alive in hip hop. And then you just do your stuff, and suddenly you hear corn on tracks or some shit, and you'll be like, wait a second, did I just was this MF Doom? No, that wasn't just, this isn't happening, right? And it
Never
pushed
acknowledge
me
it. No,
it
you've
pushed me
always got to skirt
harder
around it.
than money actually could have in that moment, broken as I was, still figuring out everything on the go. So talk about success. That's usually defined by monetary success. People still look at me strange because I'm wearing rags. Like, they don't know about Coach Witters, who's an awesome Dadaist from Hanover, and he was walking around in rags as well. Always
That was a
kind of
professor of yours, right?
clean and everything. No, a legendary old Dadaist.
Um,
He did the Märzbau. Like, Merz was his thing, not Dada. He was kind of excluded from the more famous, infamous Berlin Dada circle, whatever details. So, point being, uh, there's different route to different kind of success. We just advise the people to keep pushing. At some point, I don't know, I got the feeling the universe starts to work with you. You just believe in yourself hard enough. And I was lucky enough to have people, like support systems. And you also need that, actually. And you really, it's hard on your own. And there you go. What a waste.
yeah, it's obviously gotta be both. Um, to be successful, like you can't. I don't know. I heard I heard somebody give me an insight about Trump. Actually, it was at our last meetup that we had locally, and they were like, sort of expressing a kind of empathy for him in the sense that he likely is his world is closing in and he's very sad. Like loves nobody actually loves him. Like nobody he probably has a life that's relatively devoid of love, and everything that he does is transactional. He's only, the only bartering chip that he has
Erich Fromm
is his
talked about
position.
this, the authoritarian personality. There's different aspects to it, different variations, but totally fits the thing going on there. And there's usually also some violence involved in a way. When you think about it, with growing up already, you have your parents, and there's this authority coming into the game, and that's how you start to look at that early on, and this just later on you get to experience authority of the society, and people react differently to all that stuff going on depending on experiences. And I don't know, he seems traumatized a lot. And there's the destructive personality, and that's what Erich Fromm described pretty much. So this is all in a way related to the psychology. He called it the Renaissance man, also called it the Renaissance man. Different words for that, but yeah, it's related to this quest. We need the money, and authority is useful in that context when you think about it.
Yeah,
So,
no, it would be really helpful to have
there you go.
more authority. Like I don't know. I understand that power corrupts absolutely, but
There's
I
a
wish I
different
don't know, like
route.
I wish.
I mean, creativity is also a way to exert your authority in a way. You can
I think
use
so.
the power of attraction, you know, try to win
None
people
in
over really with hearts and minds, and stuff actually still works. Surprise. So you don't really need to do the money destructive authoritarian bullshit route. Really don't need to. And that's where I think you could also talk about lack of character and whatnot. Intelligence, integrity, actual soul. And some people get to kill their souls off early on because they have to just cope. That's what Fromm also talked about. He was of the opinion that people come to this world with intrinsic motivations, psychological feelings, a soul, actually, someone who wants to be someone and live a life and have a decent life and actually meaning in life.
Yeah, I think as a child, yeah, especially as a child, you're led by your heart, and you're very idealistic and very back to those rules that you're taught to live by, and then you go out in the real world and find out that nobody actually plays by those, and you're actually a sucker if you do if you do think of love and empathy as characteristics that you want to engender, because it's a cold, hard, wild world out there. But
Mm,
children, I think people are intrinsically good, and kids know what's good, and kids want to grow up and they believe in the world where justice is possible and love wins, and I still hold on to that because I'm a perpetual amateur and fool. you
Fucking
know, but
hippies. There we go. We already
but
cursed. Excellent.
but but y- it's beaten out of you. It's not I don't think intrinsically everyone is a door-to-door steak salesman as a child. Like there must be some little tiny baby Donald Trump who like believed that his daddy was a good person, not
Well,
like a racist landowner. Like he actually I mean, Elon Musk maybe as a child had some moments between his father driving him to school in a Rolls Royce and having slave labor in his emerald mines where he had some Proust effect of smelling hot chocolate on a cold winter's day and makes him remember that he's human. I would like to believe that there's something inside of these hollow shells of men that are
I can't
ruining our
unsee that
entire world
picture.
right now.
Yeah, and then that dress. I
Please,
can't
Papa,
I can't unsee that picture. Just
I'd
imagine
like a
him.
hot chocolate, Papa. Give me some biscuits.
No biscuits for you.
Bad dog, no biscuits.
Hmm.
Poor billionaires. Poor billionaires.
Oh,
Oh
that's
God,
where
what
we're
do
going
they
with this.
do?
Yeah,
No,
there's
it's not. I don't feel bad
suddenly
for him.
Horkheimer on my mind, and he said something along those lines that there's the accumulation of wealth, but you also have the freedom to not accumulate wealth. Seems like a totally horrid idea. Um,
You could just have a couple million
you
dollars.
you can
You
still
could
have hobbies, you know.
you can still be a
There's
multi-millionaire.
there's still I don't know. I don't have hobbies. Do I have time for hobbies? I don't really have. I don't have the money. And there's another thing on my mind right now with Master Eckhart again, this old theologian, and he had essentially this concept of activity, and he looked at work and activity as something you would rather do on your own, just for the loads of it, you know. You like what you're doing, you go out with your friends, have a nice whatever. And then there's work. You know, work is just it's gruesome. Some people get to not do the part. I don't know. I think many people would rather not to. That's
Yeah.
where socialism and basic income comes into play. And I think Ireland just uh, came up with a basic income for artists, as much as 1,500 euros or something. But at least uh, imagine that for everyone, man. Everyone on the planet.
It would
Amazing.
be
Juice for
if
everyone.
there
It's
was
enough there. I mean, it's just a question of who has it and why do we still let them have it? Can we eat the red
shout
corn
out to
with corn and
Billie
butter?
Eilish.
Sweet
I
corn
don't
and
know if you
butter.
saw that. Where was she? Billie Eilish was just out in front of some big crowd. She won an award and she got up there and she is like, I know you have billions of dollars. Like you could,
What you doing?
why are,
We have no
what you
time for
doing?
this.
Like
We are
why are there
wasting time.
billionaires?
There's climate change coming.
Have you ever
Oh my.
considered not being a total asshole? Have you ever considered maybe other people deserve to exist also? I don't know.
I don't know what the people are doing. In like a few decades, there will be water here. Like we will be, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 meters under. And they're talking about the picture of the cities right now. Our chancellor, he's completely nuts. Just pondering to right wingers because there are people there who don't look like the dumps. I don't know. It's just total insanity and distraction. And I can see why, because they're also building up a military. Guess what they're using it for. Uh, Hint, not the Russians. Maybe the Russians too, but oh, it's
It's
dark again.
it's
You
it's
got
a sad turn of events when, yeah, you could be using those same resources towards solving, like, I think that the world's problems are solvable,
oh
um,
god.
if we just, turned away from capitalistic gain and turned to humanitarianism and actually caring about other people. Just an idea. I don't know. What was it? It was UNICEF. Okay, UNICEF came. Okay, Elon Musk said something like, "Oh, if we could come up with a plan to end world hunger for $5 million or however much it was, then I would fund it. I would give the money for it." And so UNICEF took him up on it and was like, "We could solve world hunger for $5 million. Here's how we would do it." And they
Hmm.
presented the idea,
Hmm.
and as far as I know, that idea is still unfunded.
Of course it is.
The solutions, some of the solutions have not quite been figured out. Like, I can agree that immigration and mass immigration is an issue, but it's not like this hard-assed, let's just send them back to countries they've never been to before, that we also militaristically destabilized for decades
Yeah, quick
by
thought here.
by occupying their lands and bombing them ceaselessly. But like, immigration is a problem. It's going to continue to be a problem, though, and
Is it?
just well, mass migration is going to not stop.
You think
It's
both
not.
problems might be interconnected? Like hunger, for example, and exploitation
Now,
on a global
I don't
scale
know.
of the
Yeah,
global
I don't know
south
if
we
you.
now call this way because we before more racistly and actually more fiddling
Mm.
less way called them the third world because it's a different world we had just for this reason, just to exploit and extract value and not really give much back. And so, I don't know, you could actually argue, maybe, which was the point they were making, let's end world hunger. And suddenly, bam, you probably already solved part of the other problem you perceive as a problem because, I don't know, freedom of movement suddenly is a problem, and Germans are totally unaware of the pyramid of old people, and the system doesn't really work without actual workers paying into the system. So I don't know, maybe produce more workers or shut the F up about immigration because otherwise your old
Well,
concept won't work. And
here's
that's
here's an idea.
the cheesy part nobody wants to talk about. And
um, about the interconnectivity of solving the world's problems. I didn't read this idea from UNICEF about how they were planning on ending world hunger, but I'm going to go ahead and assume, this is an assumption and not to make an ass out of you and me, but here's an idea, is that that plan probably included planting sustainable crops in the places where the famines are currently happening. I saw today that there's I can't remember the name of the organization. I'll get it to you, but it's a group that's planting olive trees in West Bank and talking about how that's going to both bolster the food source for the people who are living in Palestine, but also give them a sustainable economic boost,
yeah, I
because they're
would
going to
look
be
that
able
up.
to harvest this
left
crop, and it's
behind
a crop
that.
that's long lasting. It's going to continue to perpetuate. It's going to retain the soil, which soil retention becomes a really big issue when you start talking about warfare and destroying other nations. Is you start making the ground fallow, you can't grow anything in it, and also you're more subject to extreme storms. But yeah, the famine and the soil erosion and everything is going to add into these mass migrations that are absolutely going to start
Sure.
occurring more, not less.
Yeah, we got some studies on that already. We got climate change, more extreme weather events, and usually the poor people have to pay the price. So that's going to be unfair as well. And then what's going to happen to those people at the coastlines? So lose everything, or they're probably going to be moved just like we see people supposed to leave Gaza, like nothing, you know. We gotta build a Maragalu, evacuate contaminated area, whatever, and suddenly you can treat more people like trash because some reason. And
Well,
West
it's
Bank,
money.
that's another hot
it's
topic right now. Yeah,
it,
money.
it's
That's
making
where
as much
German
money for
weapons
the
go.
people who are alive right now to have the most money that they could possibly have right now.
Mm,
And trying to contain that wealth within certain circles and make sure it's not dispersed. Like,
there we
I
go
don't know.
again.
I guess I don't understand, like, how anybody is confused about the fact that these people are sociopathic. There's not really any way around it. Is there? Like,
Psychopath.
I'm not so highfalutin academic, but I can see, I know when a snake is a snake. I picked up a snake.
Mm, narcissists. Psychopaths. Sociopaths. Yeah, we got a lot of those, and that kind of uh, mentality seems to be very successful. We see a lot of those in politics, and I'm not really surprised. I mean, it's kind of
But why are people? I guess people are suckered into it because if they were in that position, they would be that much of an asshole. Or like, why do people? How are people confused? Like, why do they think that Peter Thiel and that dark web Neil Gaiman? I can't remember his actual name, but he looks like Neil Gaiman, only if Neil Gaiman was evil and didn't like author The Sandman and Coraline and all of the stuff that Neil Gaiman has done. He's what is it, Gods, and he's got a show. Um Anyways, this other guy, um Dark Neil Gaiman is his nickname for me personally. Um it's not Peter Thiel, but it's another one of those like big three evil behind the scenes guys.
mhm. we
Anyways, like,
don't we
why
don't
do
say
people
those names.
listen to him?
Mm. There's
Why,
enough money
like,
behind it to push it in the
I
algos and
guess.
wherever, and you got the easy solution for the complex problems. Of course, not solutions. You have the constant media bombardment with the same talking points, and it's all just money. Moving stuff around, keeping you all distracted. Me as well.
Speaking of like the moving the stuff around, where is it? Venezuelans. So the reason that Chicago is having such horrible ice raids right now is because a couple of years ago there were a bunch of Venezuelan refugees. I think they were in Texas,
Hmm.
and they got shipped up to Chicago on buses, just moved around to Chicago, and that's where they were placed. And a lot of them were trying to go through the process of becoming that citizens, and were trying to participate the way that they should w- with the system that they were presented. Um, so, they got shifted up there. We're just like shifting the problem over here. And now they're being moved from Chicago to, I don't know where the people who are being detained by ICE in Chicago, I don't know where they're going because Illinois doesn't have any ICE like we don't have any ICE detention facilities. But the people who get detained by ICE do go to neighboring
Oh,
states. So it's just a push and pull of like we can kind of try to mitigate like the ways we have some of the best protections for immigrants in the United States, which is a large reason why they brought that fight here. That's why it's in Illinois, is because between Illinois and Oregon, and you notice they were in Portland right before they came to Chicago, it's because Oregon is the other state that has the best protections for immigrants in the United States. We're a sanctuary state, and that's great to an extent, but practically the people who get detained do still get detained, and they do still get shoved to a for-profit prison in a neighboring state.
how many of the people detained by ICE can't be uh, recorded back to and went missing? Like a third all over or something? I've heard something like that, and it's really concerning. And I'm not really hearing much about that. And that's also another thing how that started back then here in Germany, possibly.
It's tens of thousands. I think there were a couple of thousand when they shut down Alcatraz over west of Miami in Florida.
The government is
Um,
vanishing people. I
they
mean,
just stop recording where people are.
uh, uh,
There's no, it's really disturbing when you start looking at the numbers of children that are being housed in for-profit prisons in Florida that the education system is not allowed to assess or quantify if those children are being educated at all or what conditions they're being kept in. Nobody really is keeping track of it apparently. Yeah, it's sad. It's overwhelmingly sad. I don't know. I guess the saddest part is that like where is this breakdown of money and time, and like whose time and money are we bartering with at the end of the day? Because in my idea, we're bartering with our kids' time and money. Like whatever problems we're making right now, and instead of solving, we're just shoving them around
and
and
with
like
the
making.
generations before us, if you could say, the dead
And
boys.
they did it too, but I think technology has offered some levels of dehumanization, and how there's the lines between if you actually have to even think of someone else as a human or not, or like if you can just equate them to some video game op, or like some troll on the internet, that you don't actually have to consider that person as having feelings and a family and a life and goals and aspirations and all of that. I don't know. Our technological age has issued in some new levels of dehumanization. I think that technology might be a big pushing factor in why we're seeing that that level of 1930s, 1940s Germany coming back. Apart from the fact that the United States didn't ever really get rid of it in the first place, we just sort of brought it here. But at least we beat the Ruskies in the space race. Can you give us that? Right?
With whom?
That's
German Nazis, Werner von Braun and whatnot. Yeah, how fitting.
well,
Fits real
Huntington,
good.
Alabama, right? That's where they went.
Yeah,
Cape Canaveral.
there we go again. Got dark quick.
There we go. There we go.
So
There we go again. What were we talking about? We're just wasting time.
it just flew by. It was a nice waste of time. Do you have anything on your notes left you want to talk about?
Did you see that I painted my clipboard gold from last week
Hmm.
or 2 days ago? It's gold now. I painted it. I'm gonna get a sticker. I'm gonna get the Cans of Corn logo sticker.
It
Put it
fits
on the
to.
back of my clipboard.
No, it doesn't. Well.
What do
So
I
should
wait, wait, wait,
we
wait. I don't know what time it is, or just time got away from me. Expect my check in the mail.
checks in the mail?
Okay,
Just checking the mail, you know.
well, but I don't know. I think it's wild to have to be beholden to this system that says, let's just take I don't know. I don't know, Turning Point America. Let's just do it. Just fucking take that for an example. Like they're all about pushing family values and how much they're about good morals and Christian background. And on the one hand, like I don't know if you ever read the book Elmer Gantry. Who is that? Is it an Upton Sinclair novel? Elmer Gantry. It's this story about a guy who is basically just a shyster, but he speaks well. He's like a snake oil salesman. He's a revivalist. He's like a smooth talker, and he does really well as a preacher. Everyone's following him because he's a preacher. Um, but it's a comedy. It's all about the ways in which, to the public, he has got this public face of a revivalist preacher, but underneath he's actually just so subject to all the capitalistic follies of extramarital affairs and alcoholism
Hmm.
and this and that. Um, I don't think that they value what good people value. I don't They say that they value family and that they're trying to reinstill society with these Christian ideals, but but it doesn't work on me, I guess, because I know what the real Christian ideals are, and they're not what these people are saying. So I'm kind of confused at why anyone thinks that that's what they're really trying to do. Like, it seems like there's a good number of people who are really convinced that they're like that's the side that they need to be working for because they're the good Christians, like, and they like they're working for a simpler time and making America great again. It's like, but are you really, like,
Is that a
are you?
genocide in the background? Are you really not doing anything with BB breaking the ceasefire right now, or the time not letting the aid in? Are you not going to say it's your cease? Are you not? What's going on? Is that Epstein file not in the peace agreement? I don't know. Or maybe is it in the way of that? Who's wagging who? What's going on with the Epstein files anyway?
What's going on with Epstein? I don't know at this point. Jeffries, Madam Jeffries, I can't remember her first name right now, but her last name is Jeffries, and she was one of the girls that was exploited and traded around
Did you
to
do?
I don't know. I'm getting a call, but I'm going to decline it.
Decline it. Now
It was
you're good again. Thank you.
it was
Declined.
it was he was probably FBI. Stop talking about it. But
No AF talk.
they were absolutely with the Epstein files. It's so the craziest part is everybody seems to know. Like it's not like a secret. It's not like we're like, "Oh, I wonder what we're going to find out. I wonder who's involved. I wonder who knows what. I wonder who was at Zorro Ranch. I don't know who it could have been. Who knows?" It's not like that. We do know who it was. And for some reason, like, like how are you going to sit there and talk about how into family values you are and at the same time talk about how you and your daughter like both like to have sex, like that's your favorite pastime that you share in common with each other is
That's wild.
you and your you and your 14-year-old, like how wild is that? Like how is anybody fooled? How is people could get me on board with the idea that we need to treat each other right and that we need to honor our children and children need to honor their parents and we should um, have empathy for each other. You could absolutely get me on board. I am on board for all of those ideas now, but could we do it? Like, could we do it for real? Could we actually?
Oh no, you mean actual value? What we value and not waste our time with this
Not just like waste all of our
charade?
time. Just push it off onto our kids and say, "Nah, you guys just deal with it." Like,
And there you go.
yeah.
That's a juicy one.
So that's what we're protesting. If anybody's like, "Oh, why are they protesting? What are they on about? They're
What's
so stupid. They're
what's wrong?
probably getting paid." It's like,
And
cause
by the way, we take payment. We need your help. Find the Patreon and throw us a bone. You rich fucks.
motherfuck.
Also, meet us in the Zoom call in I don't know when you're good for the Zoom call. Are you good for the Zoom call right now?
I'm good for this.
Ten
Do it.
minutes.
Could keep going.
10 minutes so everyone can
Wait,
I don't know.
Wait, I want to shout out Miss Rachel though. I did that in the original one that didn't get recorded, but I also find out that's Glamour magazine. I was saying some big magazine and I was like it's not Vogue but like Vogue, but it's Glamour. Glamour magazine
Sweet.
named Miss Rachel Woman of the Year, which she absolutely deserves. I'm a huge Miss Rachel fan. She's one of the best role models in the world for me right now. She just I cannot stop saying enough good things about a woman who just stood up and said, you know, I don't understand why you're giving me so much shit about thinking that children shouldn't be starved to death. And I'm gonna keep on saying that they shouldn't be starved to death. Like, she's just, she's the bee's knees. Shout out, Miss Rachel.
Shout out, Miss Rachel. And with that, we're gonna leave you and meet you in I don't know 10 minutes, 10:20 in the Zoom. I'm gonna post a link on the Patreon. Now you can see my OBS. That's very professional. Uh, bye bye. Till the next time.